Welcome. Check It Out with Jessica Lee. I have here Tim Chen, who is the Director of Web Marketing from Rubrik.
From Rubrik.
How are you, Tim?
Good. I'm glad to be here.
I'm excited to talk with you about a variety of things. So let's start first with how is Rubrik doing?
Rubrik is doing fantastic. I've been actually Rubrik for 9 months. I love it. We're a fast-growing company. We're a company of really passionate people. I couldn't think of a better place to be.
The Rubrik does data management and data protection,
That's right.
And you do the web marketing, which is
I do.
Acquisition. How do you help them do that?
That's good. Let me first talk about what my team does.
Okay.
So owning Rubrik.com includes SEO, SEM, web development, strategy, and analytics.
Mm-hmm.
I would say a successful website for any company, not just for Rubrik, is to provide air cover.
Okay.
Air cover means if I do my job right, it's one less minute for a salesperson to explain what we do. It also allows us to educate our prospective customers on what we do.
Okay.
Helps people who are trying to find a career find their place at Rubrik, and also demand gen, obviously.
Okay. I want to drill into SEO because if you invest in that area, you can get phenomenal results and lower your costs, actually, or acquisition.
That's true.
Right.
That's true. SEO and SEM are usually the brothers and sisters of one another. Let's first talk about SEM. It's a very measurable way of spending money, and you get what you pay for. It's also very competitive, but you do need to pay to play, so you'll always need to be there. Okay. SEM is the area we have. SEO is the area where you have the greatest opportunity for growth. Right. Because you're organically getting people to your site, and right now organic traffic outpaces our SEM revenue, and it's always increasing because you're getting more eyeballs to the site. It also means, though, that you have to work really hard on creating content that people actually want. That's right. Right. In the old days of SEO, you just throw all the keywords on the page and you get crawled. Google's a little more intelligent than that. And so now it's really about putting the right content with the right amount to make it successful. Right. And then you're leading them through that journey from top of funnel to middle, down to sales. Exactly. You need to be very thoughtful around what the website does. For us, we actually go to the level of creating themes, right? So we have all the keywords that we care about. We're broken by themes: data protection, cloud management, cloud data management, all these terms. And all of these terms are either educational in nature or they're purchase and activation in nature. Okay. So to your point, top to middle of the funnel. Right. And so all this means that we're very intentional about which keywords we use at which pages and being very careful not to overly stuff, but really think about quality of content. It also means, quite frankly, that we need to do a little more due diligence on our end. Typically when you own a product, you want to say everything you want to say because obviously you believe your product is the best, as it should be. But that also you fall into the trap of making one page solve for too much. And from an SEO point of view, that can be killer. Right. So it's really about being smart around spreading your equity across enough pages, not just on .com, but through blogs, through social, to make sure that that relevance is spread across multiple channels. Okay. How is the culture? What is the culture at Rubrik? Culture is really good. We, like most startups, when we were small, even just fast forward a year or 2 years ago, very small, everyone's driven, it's a very small team. Last year, we went through hyper growth. And anytime you go through hyper growth, inevitably culture changes. Right? People bring in different experiences, different backgrounds. Yes. And so we're going through an evolution, I would say. Our culture is very strong. So we talk about Rivet. So Rivet to us means relentlessness, integrity, velocity, excellence, and transparency. Okay. So those are our cultural tenets. I would say being a startup, velocity is very important because we act fast. But we're going through a stage of growth now where velocity also needs to be more balanced with things like transparency. So that goes into the culture piece. How do we move fast but still cultivate a culture of belonging and diversity and inclusion? Right. Now let's talk about that, diversity and inclusion, because I know that's something that's dear to your heart. Very dear to my heart. You are an ally of women's. Yes, women at Rubrik. Yes, that's true. That's true. It may come from a place where I have 2 girls at home. Okay. And I'm also a strong believer in leaving the world better than how you found it. And when I came to Rubrik, and actually it was an opportunity for me personally to grow. I have a personal desire to be a culture carrier, and I would love my my legacy to be reflected on impact on people rather than work. And so, as I mentioned earlier, because the company is growing, there's an opportunity for me to help contribute to this growing culture. And something I'm very passionate about is helping underrepresented people, employees, gain economic opportunity and break some ceilings. And it's different for every single group. Because I'm in technology, the lowest hanging fruit is women technology. Because let's be honest, women and technology usually have very career limiting factors, just with a society is structured. And I want to be a part of that solution, not the problem.
Okay, well, what problems are you seeing?
So for when it comes to women in technology, there's a lot of things that women encounter. And I'll be honest, as a man speaking with my privilege, it's been an educational experience. And I would say that there's things like helping increase awareness so men don't feel like they should be staying on the sidelines. Sometimes just due to awareness, men aren't equipped with the right stats or awareness of what the challenges women face. They may not be aware of their own unconscious biases that contribute to even body language that may not be even nefarious in nature, but the outcome of it still may be limiting for a female peer. So helping create awareness is something that we do at Women at Rubrik. We also go through a lot of training at the managers' levels as well, specifically helping them understand diversity inclusion and how do you build diverse teams and how do you react to situations that may previously been easily overlooked, but now with heightened awareness, you're better positioned to do something about that.
Well, you're aware of the pay parity or pay inequality, if I say it correctly here, right?
Yes.
Have you heard about the equity gap?
I have. It doesn't surprise me at all. There's a lot of countries outside of the U.S. who are trying to balance out equal pay. I do strongly believe that given the same job, man and woman are both equally positioned to do the job well, and so therefore pay should reflect that. But you also are seeing just lack of diversity the higher you go up in the executive chain. Yeah. And this is not as common about Rubrik, it's in general. It's a challenge industry-wide. And that's why as a partner for Women in Rubrik or an ally, it's really important for men especially to become a part of the conversation and an active participant. So for me personally, what that looks like to me is one stat that we've been learning about as we went through training at Rubrik, so I'm very thankful for that, is when it comes to career development, women are actually less likely than men to find a mentor. Now, one cause of that is there is just less women in leadership positions, right? But mentorship also takes a few forms when it comes to career development. There's a functional mentor who is a peer who understands your space and is best positioned to give you advice on how to advance your skills and abilities. But then there's also career advice, which may cover core skills like communication, etc. And that, I believe strongly, is best positioned to be coached from someone who is like you, like a woman, female leader, for example, so Women for Women, because they've achieved or overcome challenges that maybe a male counterpart may not have. And their feedback may be a little more valuable and actionable. But for me, not wanting to be on the sidelines, I have a very open conversation with female colleagues that it's safe to talk to me about issues that might come up or to leverage me as a mentor. And one of my personal metrics for joining Rubrik was to build enough trust with women and peers within my team and outside to seek me for advice and self-initiate mentorship. So one thing I'm very proactive in is helping be a part of that mentorship solution to help give women an outlet or an opportunity to share what they're going through and to help me either be the direct mentor or to help connect with them with someone who is. And so when I joined Rubrik, I had a very specific goal in mind, and I won't share that number here, but it was a very aggressive number around building authentic relationships and having an X number of women voluntarily choose to seek me out as a mentor, because that to me is a reflection of trust. And so right now I've way exceeded that number and I feel a little pressed now, but I think that's a good problem to have. And I'm noticing in these conversations, there's conversations that you think would be very obvious, like how do I tell my boss that I'm pregnant? How do I navigate the waters of paid family leave? These things shouldn't be a scary topic for women to approach, but here we are, right? And so a lot of the conversations also revolve around I want to have a conversation with my boss about the next topic. It feels, does he feel like I'm challenging him? Does he feel like I'm trying to take his job? In what circumstances should I pull in human resources? Just helping them navigate these waters, and helping them self-enablement in rounds of how they can solve and kind of navigate their own waters is just really important, just giving them the tools to do that.
Do they ask you for advice on negotiating the pay part or the stock option part?
So there, as a manager, there's things you're advised to say and some things you're advised not to say because it's out of your realm of expertise. I do have questions around, do we feel this company, this is not actually just Rubrik, every company I've been in, does my pay feel appropriate for my level and for industry, right? And different companies have different goals around salary, but it does come up. And one thing that I always encourage the people that mentor is to be proactive in the conversations with their bosses about their roles, their career development, and subsequently pay, because it's all tied together. And we find that with people who are less experienced, they'll go right to the pay conversation, and that gives me the opportunity to help them understand what their boss is thinking about, to shape that conversation then to be not just about the money, but about responsibility. And responsibility then comes with compensation. With someone who is more senior, allows me to then talk about what taking responsibility off of the shoulder of the boss means to, again, increase their own responsibility, but also then better position them for a conversation around promotion or equity gain.
I think you were at LinkedIn before.
I was.
Right? One of the things that you probably learned from there that you would like to share is about the empathy versus compassionate leadership.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I'm going to give him a lot of kudos. So Jeff Weiner at LinkedIn was very important in shaping my personal beliefs in what it means to be a good manager. And he spends a lot of time, and you might have seen him on Oprah, and he actually has his own courses on LinkedIn Learning, talking about compassionate management and compassionate leadership. And he articulates the difference between empathy and compassion. I used to think they're the same, but they're actually different.
That's different.
Empathy is an emotional response to what someone else is feeling. So if someone's having a rough day, or they had a tough meeting with their boss, or maybe they feel like their job is going nowhere, an empathetic response is one of sympathy. But then you share in their feeling of helplessness, and it's not actionable. Compassion is a more objective form of empathy, where it is actionable, where you are in a position to help them do something about it.
Yes.
And so compassionate leadership for me, for my team specifically, actually takes a lot of effort, and that might be why it's so hard. It means that I have to genuinely and authentically care about my team to the point where I ask enough questions to understand exactly what's important to them in the career, regardless of what the job offers them, and help them understand where their career wants to go. And then really talk about, is the job at hand satisfying what they need? It puts me in a position as a manager to then present challenges that allows them to grow into what's important to them, but also helps me explore opportunities outside of my team. If I have an idea of what they need and I can't solve for it, then by all means, if I genuinely have compassion and care about them, I would celebrate in them leaving my team to go to another if it advances their career. And as a matter of fact, I'm the most excited when I hear someone wants to take my job, right? So yes, I may have a short-term pain of losing them possibly, but who am I to stand in the way of their career? A true compassionate leader helps build their team regardless, so they're in a position to get the maximum opportunity, economic gain and career gain. Especially a topic about women in technology you mentioned earlier. Because there's the equity gap, this helps me, again, at least with the people I have influence over, help them achieve a higher chance of maybe overcoming their own equity gap, whether that's stock equity or even salary. Now, I would hope to be a part of a solution as I advance in my career to be in positions of more influence to help make that something a part of company culture requirements. I'm getting there, but again, I think everyone in the management chain has a responsibility to contribute to that conversation to make sure things like equity gaps are a thing of the past.
So what challenges do you face in trying to achieve these personal goals and the company goals?
I'll be just totally honest. It's tiring. I am an introvert at heart. So when I come to work, I put the biggest, baddest version of myself out there. To really care about people takes a lot of energy. Mm-hmm. And when I come home, the real work begins because I have 2 young girls at home, and they then use more energy. So mm-hmm. I think a part of me, as I grow my own career, is to figure out how do I get that right balance, but still have the right amount of impact. Mm-hmm. I recently had a one-on-one with my boss, and he asked me one question that was a lot more deep than he realized. Because I was talking to him about my involvement in women and technology and leadership and my mentoring, and he was afraid I was spreading myself too thin because I was tired. So he asked me, "Do you put as much attention into your girls at home than you do in mentorship?" Mm-hmm. And I paused because I genuinely thought about that. I was like, you know what? I think I am more proactively thinking about my mentors, my mentees, mm-hmm. than my own kids. And that was a mind-shifting moment for me. That's mm-hmm. And not that I don't care about my kids, but the time and investment, it's true. Mm. And so for me, I had to figure out how to balance that. And I'll be honest, I'm still working through that. I think I'm making some positive gains. It's definitely a partnership with my wife, who does a whole lot that I don't do. So I'm always thankful for her. She makes the house run. I'm just the 3rd kid in the house. But it's definitely a journey.
What is exciting ahead for you?
Wow. So I would say there's 2 things. One is Rubrik specific and one is career specific. Mm-hmm. So at Rubrik, we just crossed Series E funding. Mm-hmm. Now it's the inevitable march to IPO. And as BitBull will actually encourage us, it's the march to the next 40-year company, of which IPO is just one blip on the radar. But I'm really excited about seeing our brand presence and evolution grow. And that will obviously be visually represented on things like a website. So there's a lot of things we're doing right now that really engages me in terms of just digital marketing, in terms of relooking at user experiences, running a lot of tests on a website, and using data to drive the next redesign or creative execution, whatever that might be. So that's very interesting to me. Personally, I'm trying to learn how to scale more as it pertains to my impact on culture. Yeah. And so having long conversations, I'm very closely tied to the people team at work in terms of helping develop our employees. I started a program within Web around always be learning, which is something I coined over from LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. And it's the act of prioritizing time to reinvest in yourself and learning. Right. Most companies talk about it. Most people don't have time to actually do it. Right. You say you want to save 20% of your time to go study. You're more likely to do work as a priorities. Yes. And so I actually make self-study and self-enrichment a requirement. And that means that I actually have to deprioritize things to make sure that happens. Right. So my team, on a monthly to month and a half cadence, we always get together. We study the same topic for a month, and we get together and share with one another. Last month was all about UX best practices and testing methodologies. The month before that was about leadership and how to be a successful communicator. Next month is going to be about how to be an effective presenter. So all of these things, I'm really excited about just seeing my team grow, seeing them come to life. My team, in their words, not mine, is a very happy one, and the morale is very high, and that to me is a indicator of my own personal success. Excellent.
Well, I want to say thank you so much, Tim, for coming in and sharing about Rubrik, sharing about the women in tech, and you being an ally. That's great. I applaud you on that. And just speaking candidly about the struggles in work-life balance, right? Trying to do more at work, trying to do more at home. So thank you for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you for having me.
There you have it. Take it up with Jessica Lee, Tim Chen from Rubrik.